Race is a social construct, exploring the concept. The concept of race as a social construct is a fundamental idea in sociology, anthropology, and other social sciences. It challenges the notion that race is a biological or genetic reality, and instead asserts that it is a product of social, historical, and cultural influences. Here's an exploration of the concept of race as a social construct. Definition of race as a social construct. Race, as a social construct, means that the categorization of people into racial groups is not based on inherent biological or genetic differences, but as a result of human society's social, cultural, and historical processes. These categorizations can vary significantly from one society or historical period to another. Historical context. The idea of race as a social construct emerged in response to historical events such as colonialism, slavery, and scientific racism. It became clear that race was used as a means of justifying discrimination, exploitation, and social hierarchies. The role of society. Social constructionism emphasizes that society plays a significant role in defining and perpetuating racial categories. Social institutions, including government, media, education, and religion, have historically contributed to the creation and maintenance of racial identities and hierarchies. Racial categories are arbitrary. The boundaries and definitions of racial categories are arbitrary and not grounded in biological reality. Different societies and time periods have used different criteria to classify people by race, often based on physical characteristics, ancestry, or cultural traits. Racial fluidity. The concept of race as a social construct recognizes that racial identities can be fluid and subject to change over time. An individual's racial identity may vary depending on the society in which they live or the cultural context in which they find themselves. Racialization. Racialization refers to the process by which groups of people are assigned racial identities by those in power. This process can lead to the creation of racial stereotypes and biases that affect people's lives and opportunities. Intersectionality. The concept of intersectionality, closely related to race as a social construct, acknowledges that an individual's experience of race is influenced by their other social identities, such as gender, class, sexuality, and more. Challenges to biological determinism. The idea of race as a social construct challenges the long-discredited notion of biological determinism, which claimed that certain racial groups were inherently superior or inferior to others. Social consequences. Recognizing race as a social construct is crucial for addressing issues of racial discrimination, inequality, and social justice. It underscores the need to dismantle racial hierarchies and promote equity and inclusivity. Acknowledging racial privilege. Understanding race as a social construct also highlights the concept of racial privilege. It encourages individuals to recognize their own privilege if they belong to a socially advantaged racial group and to work towards dismantling systemic inequalities. In conclusion, the concept of race as a social construct emphasizes that race is not a fixed, biologically determined characteristic but is instead a product of societal norms, historical processes, and cultural influences. This perspective is essential for addressing and dismantling racial discrimination and promoting a more equitable and inclusive society.